Sun.
They do that as
For
well?
everybody who's asking what I'm wearing, I'm not wearing Converge. I'm wearing a shirt by a Swiss chaos jazz band called Convulsif. If you ever want to find out more about them, we have a review up on our website. So, Sébastien, thanks for doing this. Where are we catching you right now? I see a huge map in the background. It looks as if it's Africa.
In the background there, it's Africa, and it's Japan.
Wait. That's not the Philippines, are we? No.
No, it's Japan.
It's Japan, yeah. Then a little southwest would be the Philippines. Yes, cool.
So yeah,
where
you're
are we catching you?
In my flat, actually. I live in a little flat in the city of Liège, Belgium, Eastern Belgium. So that's it.
Why the maps?
I tend to keep old stuff. I like to do that. Not that I'm a big antique collection guy or something, but when I find something in how you say that, garage sales or something, I just I'm this kind of guy who likes old stuff for cheap.
So for everybody who is not 100% familiar with your band, can you tell us what you're doing or what your job is in Wyatt E?
What I'm doing in Wyatt E, I'm actually the guitar player, the synth player as well. But in Wyatt E, we do a bit of everything. Like, I created this band with my bandmate Stefan, and since the very beginning, we're playing like percussions, sometimes even drums. Both play bass, guitar, synth, and we had different drummers playing along with us, but that's what we do. It's just like we introverted the roles from time to time, depending on who's composing what part of the band, the songs and everything.
So would you call yourself a multi-instrumentalist?
Bad one, yeah.
And of course, everybody's curious. I'm pretty sure that Wyatt E is a reference to Wyatt Earp.
It is, yes, it is.
But why not then just say Wyatt Earp?
Well, I don't know. I don't think there's a band called Wyatt Earp, but I like to keep it a bit, not a secret, but like more a reference than a direct name. I'm not Wyatt Earp. I don't pretend to be Wyatt Earp, and neither Stefan does. So we were like, it was just a reference to something we were vaguely sounding in the beginning of the band. That's it. So we started, the two of us, we were playing this kind of drone music, like regular random dudes playing in their garage or something. We didn't have any drummers back then. And it sounded more like an post-apocalyptical Western movie soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So somehow we wanted to, take that reference and make a name out of it. And we had this story of the, Wyatt Earp, U.S. Marshal, Ike Clanton, OK Corral, the whole thing. That, of course.
The Tombstone story.
But it was just a way for us to, how you say that, like get a hook into American culture, new neo-Gothical, American Gothic culture somehow. And when we had a drummer, like when we met the guy who was about to become the first drummer of the band, Roman, it sounded more different. It was more like Orientalish, whatever that is actually, but it like sounded more, Orient. And we decided to keep the name because, I didn't, we were playing some sort of, psych, stoner, whatsoever shit. And I didn't feel like we have to add the dope or smoker or bong to the name, you know? We know that it's like, it's 2 times the message. The music means smoke weed and the names mean smoke weed as well. So we didn't feel like we should do that. So we just kept the name.
And it's also very interesting when thinking about it, when you say like neo-Gothic, of course, when one thinks about the movie, there is some American Gothic, Americana feeling to it. That's definitely true. So, Sébastien, what is your personal musical background? Because I imagine that you didn't start Wyatt E as the first thing you ever did.
Not as the first thing I ever did, but I'm playing with my bandmate Stefan for like 20 years or something. And we played like 10 years without getting out of the garage, you know, just for fun. And we had this drum machine, the TR-606, like shellac, like Big Black, not shellac, Big Black back then. And yeah, so that's how we started as a band. And that's not the first band we had, but as far as I remember, it's the first make your own music and not playing cover band we had. But of course, like the musical education is a bit different. I'm an autodidact, you know, I didn't go to any music school or anything. My father had a couple of guitars. My mother used to play the flutes. My grandparents play saxophones and everything. So it's like music has always been around on my side. And I started when I was 14, so kind of late actually. And I had a couple of friends who were playing the guitar as well. So I just, you know, like played along with them and they showed me how to do this and that. And that's how I got to learn, play music. And when you do that like 6 to 8 hours a day, then you try new stuff and you're playing with bands and punk bands. And I was a huge Nirvana fan since I'm like 6 or something. I remember that I was given Nevermind when I was 6 or 7. Wow. And that changed my life. I mean, yeah, culturally speaking, musically speaking, it changed my life back then. I was just not even a teenager or something, but I remember that I had this album with the Funny Baby, and
who's still trying to make money.
Yeah, but I think it was rejected a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it was.
Or a couple of weeks. So, yeah. But whatever. That's the thing. That's how I got to immerse myself in rock music, and then I became curious. You know, just like every edgy people. So I discovered a lot of bands, post rock and stuff like that. You know, that's the whole story short.
Well, that is a lot of basically genre droppings that you're doing, like what influenced you as a genre, and of course Nirvana. But is there any, apart from Nirvana, any specific artist or band that influenced you? Maybe also for the sound of Wyatt E?
The first thing we thought it was connected to is a Silver Mount Zion. Mm-hmm. It's this band from Montreal, playing post-rock. Yeah, related to Godspeed You Black Emperor. But yeah, this album, Born. Yeah, I forgot the name, but like they had like the two first albums there. They have like such long titles, and those 2 albums like were something really strong in the genesis of Wyatt E, I would say. But then, you know, there are often people that come to you and like, ah, yeah, you sound like this. You sound like, a bit like Home. Of course, that's the reference that we always got, even I mean, I see the connection. I'm not stupid, but especially in the bass. But yeah, it's not like we don't speak about the same thing. And also, yeah, I don't know, master musicians of Bukake. They're a band from Seattle. Yeah. Really, really cool band. And like I got to see them in front of like 20 people or something in Lüttich, in Liège. Yeah, of course. Yeah, probably the best gig in my life. It was like they had a gap in their tour, and somehow they ended up in Liège, in La Zone, a very, very small club here. And yeah, they had this trilogy of albums, Totem 1, Totem 2, Totem 3, and Totem 2 is definitely my favorite. Yeah, otherwise, Stefan and I are also a big fan of soundtrack from movies. Yeah, I cannot tell you. It's like, yeah, we're like such record diggers. So otherwise we have a lot of bands in common. Blonde Redhead as well, you know, not even the first albums that were like super noisy, but like the since they released Miseries of Butterfly, I think we've been such a big fan of that band, both of us. And it's not why it's related, you know. I mean, I don't see the link with our music, but it's something that influenced us as a band for real. And also Neutral Milk Hotel, maybe. Yeah. You know that band from Georgia. Really cool folk Americana band, actually. So that's it, I would say. I mean, there's we can like spend a whole afternoon, you and I, and dig into records. Probably, and be like, oh yeah, this thing. Yeah.
So when the first thing that always comes to my mind when I think of Wyatt E is sound. Yes, there is some kind of ultra interesting sound to the band, and there is also this kind of stage mystique. I mean, now we can see you, but on stage you're dressed in how shall I say, Middle Eastern outfits. I was thinking like Iranian or Persian, but that's probably not even correct. And it's also the case that your faces are covered with a shawl, right? Or at least not covered, but it's hidden behind the shawl.
Not anymore. Now you can see your eyes like that. Yeah, now you can see the eyes. But actually, so the thing is, when we have this first drummer with us, and it sounds more Oriental or something, it's probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. I'm also in the middle of a personal project. You know, I try to find my ancestors and stuff. And I told you I'm from atheist Jew family. They used to be Ashkenazi, you know, but like not synagogues going Jew people or something. You know, they were like more communist, socialist than Jews, like a lot of Jews actually. But and I'm in the middle of this process of like building your genealogy, and I got to know that from my grandfather that we also have roots in Syria. That a part of the family far away. It's on the level of my great grandfather or something. Are from Syria, and I'm like, you know, it's this feeling of Judaism, not as a religion, but as a culture. It's very strong in me. And I'm not a believer or anything. but still, yet it's very interesting to me, you know. And I want to connect to that part of the family that's very hard to find papers and stuff, you know, because it's fucking Syria, you know.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's kind of clear for the German Eastern Europe part, you know, you can build the genealogy quite easily. But when it comes to Middle East, it's totally fucked up. It's like, yeah, it's gone forever. You cannot find that. It's just because your grandparents know it, and it's part of the family the family history, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm
history,
like,
right?
oh, sorry.
The oral history, something that you don't have any paper proof. It's just the information is handed down word by mouth.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and like I'm in this process of finding who my ancestors are, and I have this band at the side. Somehow it sounds like Orientalish, and it rings a bell. I mean, it's I'm connecting personal story with art whatsoever, music, and I'm like, I want to do this a personal project, you know. Mm-hmm. So I just start like digging in history, because like I like maps, but I also like old books and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I find this book about King Nebuchadnezzar II, and I read it all, and it's I'm 22, 23. I'm passionate, you know. I'm just like, wow, that's really, really cool. And there's this part of this reign where he's going to Jerusalem, and he's like besieging the city. You know, he's waiting outside the walls and attacking from time to time. And at the end, you know, it's the fucking king of Babylon, so he wins. And he's taking all the Jewish elite. Here, so I mean, the screen is freezing, so I don't know.
Interestingly, you were frozen as well. So let's just go on. You were talking about he is besieging the city of Jerusalem, and
so yeah, he captures the elite and sends them to Babylon.
Yeah, the Babylonian diaspora. Yeah,
totally. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really cool hook for me to make the story of my family, the seek of my past, as those people who were deported can also be my past. You know, it's always a matter of deportation when it's about the Jews, actually. So I'm like, yeah, I should definitely connect the two of them, and like, you know, seek for a different place as I seek for my family. And so this leitmotif of the deportation of the Jewish people from back then is the leitmotif of Wyatt E, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's like discovering. Yeah, tell me.
How did Stefan react when you offered this kind of thematic arch for the band?
You wanna know, right?
Yeah. How did your bandmate react when you basically told him, like, okay, let's make this a band also in some way on my personal history?
We have different role in the band, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm the the storyteller. I'm the storyteller. We're both composer, but he's the technical guy. So like he's experimenting a shitload of stuff when we're recording, because we record everything ourselves. So I don't interfere with his job. while he doesn't interfere with mine. You know, we both compose. He's doing like the all sound experimentation. I'm building the story, and we have this balance that matches perfectly. And so he kind of followed me. He just like helped me out with that.
So would you agree that in some ways the band is also a way for you to find your identity?
Yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, when we started that, like a couple of years ago, I wasn't telling the whole story, you know. I was just like doing it because it felt natural to me. And after, like, you know, and we never had any or only a few people asking us. And you know, it's 2022 and people that doesn't even know you wants you to explain yourself because they're using words that they don't even understand themselves, you know, cultural appropriation and stuff like that. And it's often the same kind of white privilege kid that tells you what to do and what not to do. And so I had to unveil this part of my life as well, to just like so they just leave me alone, you know. And we were telling this part of ourselves since I would say 2 years now. But it's something, you know, when it's personal, you don't feel like you have to tell it to everybody, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel, yeah, and I feel uncomfortable with that. But since you ask, then I'm telling you. But I always feel uncomfortable with that because I'm not a shy person, but I'm like, yeah, it's my business. I don't want to annoy people with my business, you know. But since there are like people that are like blah 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 like that all the time, I'm like, please, dude, just shut up. Take the music for what it is. Now that you have the story, I don't want to justify myself for all my life. You know, I mean, I'm not telling that to you. I'm just like explaining the whole thing.
So have you been confronted with accusations of cultural appropriation or the abuse of a culture that you, because some people think so, are not part of?
Accusation, it's a strong word, so I would say no. But it's been said a couple of times. Like people came to discuss with me, and some are like just curious about it, so they ask. Some are more like, oh yeah, but isn't it cultural appropriation for this or that? And I'm like, yeah, of course, if with your perspective it is, but since we have this moment and I can tell you the whole story, then you will see that it's not. And yeah, that's it. And you know, it's funny because like we released this first EP, Months in Night at Swan in 2015, and there's this label in Jerusalem who's getting in touch with us, and somehow life and the life events brought the explanation or something, you know, brought the truth out of it. And it was really funny to like have this connection with people in Israel and Jerusalem, Palestine, whatsoever, kind of legitimating the whole thing. We didn't ask for it and it came to us. So it was really, really a nice feeling back then.
As we are talking about cultural appropriation, I would like to ask you, for your perspective, I know we hadn't talked about it before, but it just came to me a few weeks ago. There has been a huge discussion in Central Europe, in Switzerland, and in Germany about the question whether let's put it back. People who do not have a Jamaican background are allowed to wear dreadlocks, are allowed to play reggae. Would you say that only people from Jamaica are allowed to do that, or is music a free-for-all?
Tough one.
I know.
Is it
I
a trap?
haven't made up my mind on that one yet.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It depends on what's behind as well. You know, if it's innocent or something, and if it's like free of any bad intention behind it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's cultural appropriation. And that is most of those bands are not making like millions out of it. You know, it's not like they're making a shitload of money or something. It's not like Prada or Dior or Versace or something, you know, who's like taking something and make business out of it and capitalism out of it, you know. So I wouldn't be that judgmental with reggae, but the only thing I would say is like, stop that crap anyway.
I was thinking along similar lines, and as I said, I still haven't made up my mind 100% on it. But I would say, if it is done with love, if it is done with respect, and if it is done in depth, I think that is not cultural appropriation. I'm just thinking about a reggae artist from my hometown of Cologne, a gentleman, who is respected by Jamaicans for his patois, for his style of reggae that he does. And I think if people from that culture respect you for what you do, for paying homage to their culture, then nobody else. No, sorry. I usually don't like that term, but in this case, no snowflake should come up with accusations of cultural appropriation if you do it in a positive and respectful way. Of course, and I think we both agree on that, if you do it in order, like blackfacing back in the 1920s in America, that is shit. We don't have to talk about that, but if you do it in a respectful and positive way, then I think we should let people do that.
Also, society is polarized. You know, it's especially these last 10 years or something. If you're not pro, you're against. If you're not against, you're pro. And I'm not a big defender of the gray zone or something, but I'd like, you know, people, if they're, it's not or black or white all the time, you know, not for every subject or something. You cannot agree or disagree on 100%. You can somehow agree, somehow disagree. And the beauty is in here in the middle, I would say. So it's what makes us like human beings, and with ideas and resources and challenge, I would say. So
coming back to your band, and there is something about Wyatt E that I really like, and that is the level of authenticity. Whenever I listen to your band, of course there are lots of different musical styles in it, and some people call it psych rock, some people call it world music, some even refer to it as drone. I think there is also a heck of a lot of jazz in there. First of all, how did you come to this level of authenticity in sound?
I mean, the whole process of writing a song for Wyatt E is really long. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's time and work more than some sort of like gift, you know. Since the very beginning of composing a song until the end when it's released or something, there's like 4 or 5 years. So songs that you're listening now on the latest album we had, bēlūti, dārû.
I'm thankful that you mentioned the record title because I would not be able to pronounce it. Thank you.
Those songs, like some part of them have been recorded or composed 5-6 years ago. So and some of those very first recording are still on the album. So it's also a matter of adding layers and layers of music after each other, and then we have like this big cake of, I don't know, 94 layers, something like that. And then it's a matter of choosing as well. Like, what do we want to tell at what time? So it's instrumental music, but somehow we want to tell a story. We don't want to make it for free. You know, it's not like I have like this storytelling in my mind. You know, I know where I want to go. I know what I want to tell. And yeah, along with Stefan, we're just like, it's just a matter of choice of what we're keeping at the end of the record. But also it's a matter of learning and being open-minded enough to open to new culture, new instruments, just new ways of composing or something. You know, I used to study in the Fine Art Academy here in Lutish, and I had this drawing lesson with a guy from Iraqi Kurdistan, and he was playing the saz, and he came to school with his saz, and he was playing along in between lessons and stuff like that, and I felt like super amazed by his skills and stuff. So I was like, but it was 10 years ago, you know. I was like, oh yeah, I want you to teach me how you do that. I want you to tell me your culture, tell me your background with music as well. So I want you to share with me your history through music. And that's how I got to learn a little bit of saz, you know, the rudiments, the basics. And to make good music, you also have to be open-minded, I would say. And I'm more open-minded today than I was when I was 16 or something. And the more I open my mind to other music and culture, the more I got skills as well as a person, but as a musician as well. And I would say that you can hear it through the music as well. So I guess the next album will be even better, since I'm a more grown-up human being and musician than I was when we composed the last one. You know? That's the thing. So that's the process: adding layers of music, but also culture that you've been taught during the process.
So when listening to you, I guess that you would say there is no music without culture and no culture without music, right?
Yeah, music is culture and culture is music as well. I mean, it's like dance as well, and literature and art in general, but also society organization or something. It's
how about
everything
food?
Is cultural.
How about food as part of culture?
I mean, food is definitely something that could bring world peace or something.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
When it's about food, I'm very curious as well. You know, I love to travel Eastern Europe mainly because I like that, and you know, I don't even ask the English menu or something when I'm going eat something in a restaurant or a snack or something, I just pick the name like, oh yeah, I'll what's the house special or something like from here, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I'm ordering, because I know that maybe I won't like it that much, but at the end of the day, I'll be a more grown-up person and I'll know more about their culture than before. And food is a good example, actually. Food is a really good example.
Yeah, one Eastern European city that I still can suggest to anybody, because I've been there twice, is Sarajevo in Bosnia. I love that city. Wonderful city.
I've been there once, and I plan to go there next year with my wife, because she didn't even think of traveling Eastern Europe before we met. And she came on tour with us in Bulgaria, Serbia, and she was like, I want to come back. I want to see what's there. And
exactly.
he told me about Sarajevo, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? I want to go there as well. I want to go back there, you know? And so we're planning to go back. Sarajevo is one of my favorite. I love Belgrade because I have a connection with this city, and I can explain why. I love, I don't know, I love Skopje as well.
Also very interesting city. I haven't been there yet, but everything that I've been told and that I've seen makes me want to go as well. But of course, your music goes even further east. Are you using any specifically Mid-Eastern instruments on your tracks?
I play a bit of sad, as I told you, because I got to meet this nice guy who wants to remain anonymous. It's not like I don't want to tell you his name, but
no, that's okay.
He's not the he's not looking for any sort of celebrity. He lives like 2 houses away from my home now. It's funny because I live like 100 meters away from the place where I met him at the Fine Art Academy, and he's living two houses away. And so yeah, the Saz is like this Middle Eastern version of bouzouki. You know, from, they also call it baglama in certain places. It's all the same principle somehow, but like depending on the region, Iraq or Turkey or Lebanon, it has different names and different size, and it comes in different shape and stuff. But mine is a Saz, and but it's not like I'm a professional player of Saz. You know, I'm playing it like I've been taught how to play it, actually.
Does Stefan use any other, let's say, unusual instruments?
No, Stefan is a guy who's he has a huge collection of synths, and so that's his thing.
So you have mentioned your love for metal, for stoner stuff, but am I wrong that there is some kind of jazzy feeling in your sound?
You're not wrong, but I'm pretty uneducated with jazz, I would say. So I can hear it. I've been told that is jazz, so I know what jazz is when I'm playing it. But it's not like I can tell you I've been a huge fan of, I don't know, Miles Davis or something, or like free jazz, or I've got a shitload of musician friends that are playing free jazz, noise jazz and stuff, and I'm always like the guy sitting at the back. I like it, but I don't understand it, you know? But
yeah, I can get that.
But yeah, I can also hear it from time to time, and it's something that's popping up without notice, and I'm glad that I'm still how can I say that, not innocent, but yeah, kind of innocent with that, you know, like clueless, I would say. Like, oh yeah, it's happening, I don't know why it's happening, but it's happening and it's good, you know. So but yeah, you're right, you're not the first person to tell me that, of course.
um, I mean, like a lot of stories that you tell have this Mid-Eastern historical background. We've been talking about Nebuchadnezzar. You have a song which is called Ode to Ishtar. So those are topics and issues that are in some ways a little longer gone in history, right? Do you also in some ways reflect the present in your music?
No.
No, next question. Next question.
But no, it's a very interesting question. But I mean, every person in this band has an opinion on stuff. I would say on stuff that are happening today. Yeah. But I wanted to keep the band away and the purpose of the band. Not the band members, but the purpose of the band, the purpose of the music, away from any sort of thing that could be related even from far to something from today. That's also why we picked this story from like 26 centuries ago. Like back then, no Christianism, no Islam, no, just like ancient gods and Judaism, because there's nothing but that, and that's good actually, because I don't want to make it a political statement or something. I have opinions, but I don't feel like my opinions could be legit or something. So, and people would say, yeah, but you have to be more honest and you have to like stand for something on a personal level. Yes. But on the artistic level, I'm not sure it's my role to do that.
It's also not a band's duty to talk about the present or about politics, I would say.
Yeah, some other bands are doing it, and they're doing it probably better than I would do it. So I'm like...
But again, it's not a duty, right? So you don't have to.
No. I didn't sign any paper when I was starting music. Like you have to tell your opinion on everything, you know. So I don't want to do that. Yeah. I have opinions, strong opinions sometimes, but yeah. I mean, if we're friends and we go have a coffee somewhere and we talk about stuff, then I will unveil myself, of course.
But then that is also different.
Yeah.
Then you're talking as Sébastien and not as part of Wyatt E, right?
Yeah.
What I also love about the band, while I was preparing that, I was thinking about the Belgian scene, which is always amazing me in the way that it's such a rather small but densely populated country, I know, but you know, it's a rather small country and it has a huge and very interesting music scene. And it also is a country with a lot of multicultural influences, positive and negative, and also with positive ways of dealing with that and with negative ways of dealing with that. But would you say that the way that Wyatt E is constructed, a Belgian band with Belgian members, but playing music closely related to the Middle East, would you say that that in some way is also kind of characteristic for Belgium? Sorry.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I've got, yeah. Plus, Belgium is a big mess. I mean, linguistically speaking, culturally speaking, it's like we're Roman worlds. Like the border in between Roman and German world.
Where the Romans met the Gauls.
Yeah, totally. I'm not sure it's true for each band from Belgium, of course, but like, can you be more specific? What are you thinking about? Like,
well, I was thinking about the way that, you know, I think Wyatt E is in a way, a multicultural band. you're based in Belgium, but a lot of the cultural things that you are referring to, of course, first of all, being personal, but second of all, also having to do with the Middle East. So you are basically connecting two different cultures in your musical performance. And I see that in a lot of bands, like Neptunian Maximalism, CZLT. So there are lots of Belgian bands which combine different cultures in their sound and in their performance.
You know them well, those two bands like CZLT and Neptunian Maximalism?
I know that Guillaume is part of both. Yeah, Cazelet.
Actually, Guillaume is a good friend of mine.
So?
I go to his place from time to time, drink coffee in Brussels, and we're just talking gear and stuff, you know. He's from France, actually, so he's not even Belgian. But
another culture brought in.
Yeah, French guy who immigrated in Brussels. Yeah, actually, I don't know. It's funny because like some people are also connected or two bands, and I know him for like ages because I used to know his previous bands and stuff, and we were like somehow friends. I bought a guitar from him when I was a teenager or something, and now that we have those two bands, of course, that are playing some sort of multicultural music, people are like, oh yeah, you guys should meet, you know, you good friend or something. It's funny, but I cannot answer for Guillaume actually because it's not something I discussed with him. I don't know what it's I don't know his point of view about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm multicultural myself, you know, like I told you about my past, my ancestor whatsoever, like only white supremacists, and even them, you know, but only them are thinking they're like monocultural and that they have it all or something, you know, like, but we're all multicultural, and that's the beauty of life as well. It's the beauty of meeting people. It's the beauty of food. It's the beauty of traveling. It's so in a way, yeah, Belgium is this little laboratory for like Dutch-speaking, French-speaking, even German-speaking people living together. You know, but I mean, it's the same fucking thing, you know. There's not a huge difference in between the Flemish. I mean, some nationalists, they want to make you believe that there's a huge gap in between like the working people from Flanders and the lazy people from South Belgium, and there are Brussels in the middle. They want to make it a huge thing, and it's like that there's like cultures are away from each other, like kilometers away from each other, but they're not. I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's a little laboratory of multiculturalism, but there's also Moroccan people in Belgium. There's also Turkish people. I mean, there's a gap. There's a cultural gap, and that's what it's beautiful. Why it's beautiful as well, you know. I mean, there I can see why it's vivid and why it's interesting. But yeah. I mean, yeah. It's cool. It's different languages. You get to know the culture of the other, but it's Belgium. Like you said, it's a fucking tiny country nobody cares of.
Well, music-wise, a lot of people care about that country.
Yeah, but it's only being created for like not like in between the Dutch, the French, and the German, and the British, so they don't fight each other on their country. You know, so
don't forget the Austrians. Back 500.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But
no, but I mean, yeah, I like this country because it's like I told you, it's where Roman and German meet each other, and that's cool. But well, I think Slav is also interesting. Mediterranean people are also super interesting. Huh? Nordic, Scandinavian people, like, I can see a bigger cultural gap as well, you know. But yeah,
that is also
I mean,
something where
Belgium
you
is
and me agree,
interesting.
right? We're curious people. Others would be like,
Yeah, right.
So, what also always strikes everybody that I've spoken to, and I've spoken to a few of my friends while I was preparing this interview, and I still remember talking to two of them with whom I share an experience connected to Wyatt E. And that was this year's Roadburn edition. You were playing Thursday evening in a tent, and it wasn't really cold, but it also was not really warm outside. But I remember the two friends of mine and me standing outside a full, packed tent at, I think it was 11 or something like that. And you were playing in there, and the whole place was packed, and you were getting basically everybody into this like psychedelic trance. How did you experience that evening?
First of it, I am very proud proud that that we played a full packed marquee. I didn't expect it actually. So you know, this band started like not a joke, but we didn't even want to play shows. You know, it's when we met our first drummer, and he's like, "Yeah, we should play shows. You know, shows are cool. You know," and we're like, "Yeah, okay, let's play shows then." And Roadburn was this light at the end of the road. You know, it was the thing we should like. It was the thing we were aiming for, of course. Like, not when we started the band, but when people were starting to enjoy it, we're like, yeah, we should play bigger audience, cooler festival, nice venues and stuff. And Roadburn, you know, you can't see it from far, you know. And when it happens, you're like, yeah, the day they called me to tell me that we were playing at 11, fucking 11. Of course, I was
that marquee.
Yeah, I was shitting my pants, dude. I mean, it's fucking Roadburn. Like, it's not only the festival; it's also the audience. You know, they travel the world to get there, so they're like super high class music lovers, and you know, they want to discover cool stuff. You know, you don't pay your ticket at Roadburn just to see random bands. So I was super proud of it. How I did experience it from my musician perspective, I would say that it's the same as a show with 20 people. I mean, it will always be the same. Mm-hmm. From 20 to 5,000 after, I don't know, because I never experienced that with Wyatt E, but it's the same. I mean, we're there to share a trip, share a travel with the audience, and that's it. But of course, at the end of the show, when you go backstage and stuff, you're like, I did it, and it was cool, and it's something I could share with like that many people, and the more many it is, the better it is. So it was really cool. I mean, I don't stress the shit out of me when I'm going on stage on such events or something. But at the same time, I know why I'm doing this job when I'm playing Roadburn. So it's a normal job to me, but also something very rewarding. That's how I live it.
It's funny that you mention people from all over the world, because my friend Joe comes to Roadburn every year from New Mexico. And the other friend that I was sharing this with, Martin, he comes from Finland. So three guys, cool. 3 countries. So shout out to my friends. And I also remember quite well that a lot of people were standing inside and outside, and your music gets people into some kind of, let's say, trance, you know, like meditative state. Do you also get that on stage, or are you so concentrated on the performance not to fuck it up?
Sometimes I have this trance feeling on stage, but like it's very controlled, you know. Mm-hmm. I cannot let myself go and fuck it up, of course. And as I said, it's still a job. I mean, I consider my job as a musician as a job. Like, you know, my parents, they're like from they're working class people. They stopped school at 16, 15 for my father. They went to work in factories and stuff. So real poor working class or something. And I consider that I'm lucky because I'm doing something that I do like, unlike them actually, because they went to pick a job because they had to eat and pay for the rent and everything. So I consider myself lucky, but I know that it's the job, you know? Mm-hmm. And so people pay for their festival entrance ticket whatsoever, and I want them to get what they paid for, you know? So I don't want to fuck it up. I cannot let it go and fuck it up at the end of of course. So yeah, the trends come from the repetitive pattern layers that it's, you know, we know what we're doing. I mean, we're doing that because that's the we know the consequences of what we're doing. So we know how to compose a song so people react that way to the songs. But at the same time, it's a job, and at the end of the day, we need to make it the best way we could. So it's control chaos, control trance, control whatsoever. Everything is super controlled in Wyatt E. There's not much space for like improvisation or something.
Did you see any other bands at Roadburn this year that caught your attention?
Mesa, of course. We were touring with them, but their show was a special in the tour because they had like musicians from Italy traveling from Italy to make that special show for Roadburn, like extra members and stuff. And the way, I mean, I'm always amazed when I see them play, actually.
So sorry for everybody. We had a few problems, or I had a few problems here. And I hope that now everybody can hear and see and listen to us again. Sébastien wanted to tell us something about a possible 5 bands, 1-day event with Wyatt E performing, and he can choose 4 other bands.
Okay, cool. I had to I had some time to think about it, you know, when you were away. So, that's really good, actually. So I noted that down actually, so I don't forget about it. So 5 spot, including Wyatt E, right?
Yes. First of all, where would you play? Which slot would you take?
I don't know. If I'm organizing the show, you know, and have to like fill in the beers in the fridge and stuff, I would say I play first, you know.
Okay. Okay. So Wyatt E goes first, and then.
And then I would present some friends of mine from Lüttich as well. The singer comes from the Netherlands, but like he settled down in Belgium a couple of years ago when he was a kid. And it's called Demon Sneap. It's a band, like, I don't know, they're so young, and it sounds a bit like Swans, and if they ever were 20, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if Michael Gira ever was 20. I think he was just
no, it doesn't look like he was 20 in his whole life, ever.
Yeah.
So Demon Sneap, really cool band. They have an album called Life Without Adrenaline, and it's really a good record. Then I would go for a reformation of Asva, a band that I saw live like 15 years ago, and I was like blown up by this band, like some sort of slow tempo drone whatsoever. It was really cool, but you know the band, right?
Yeah. But not everybody out there knows it. So cool to reintroduce other people to great bands. So we got Wyatt E, Demon Sneap, and Asvar.
Yeah, and then I'll put the headliner here, and then it would be an after party, you know. So the headliner would be Altingen.
Okay.
A really cool band from Rotterdam with Turkish people and Dutch people. Like, they're huge, you know. They open for what's the name of that band again? For Kevin Parker, you know, the come on, dude, like this super big band.
Well, I don't listen to super big bands, but I know what you mean. Kevin Parker. It's not Broken
Tame
Social.
Tame Impala.
Yes.
So they opened for him in the US actually. So they're really good band. Like, I've seen them in front of 30 people when they were nothing, and they like exploded. They were like huge. They're huge now, and they're touring all over the world. And always a cool band to see live. Very dancey. I mean I like it. They have like old Turkish folk song that they do their own way, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and which is a very cool thing, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like, if you haven't seen this band and they ever come near you or something, you should definitely see them live. It's really cool. And like for the after party, I would say Patriarchy. It's a band from Los Angeles. It's some sort of I don't know. 9 Inch Nails goes SM for real, and it's a really cool band. They have 2 albums. One was just released a couple of days ago. I will check for the name of that album because it's amazing. I'm on Spotify at the same time, you know, because I can. And the album is called The Unself.
Okay.
Yeah, but before that, like last year, they had this album called Reverse Circumcision. And it's an album made of remix from their first album from 2019. And this album is amazing as well. I mean, I prefer the remix album than the original one, but the one that they released this year, The Unself, is really cool. I discovered them on Cult Nation.
So it's interesting to see that even for such a festival, you have a wide variety in sound and also a somewhat wide variety in roots that you're representing. That's very interesting. And I think it does a lot of justice to your band. So, of course, we cannot leave a Veil of Sound interview without our quickfire round. So you'll get 10 questions like roses or tulips, you know, black or white, and you have to choose one of them. And if you want to give a short explanation, I'll start off with something easy: pizza or pasta?
Fuck, dude, I love Italian food. I'm such a lover of Italian food. I cannot choose pizza or pasta.
Of course you can.
Pizza.
Okay.
Because I like when it's crusty.
Okay. Iron Maiden or Judas Priest?
I don't know enough Judas Priest, so Iron Maiden.
Okay. Of course, I will not make you choose between Lüttich and any other Belgian city. That's too easy. So I give you the alternatives of Ghent versus Bruges.
Ghent. Bruges is for tourists.
That's actually true. You know, I mean, I was in Bruges a couple of times, and then I went to Ghent, and I was like, oh my God, this is much nicer.
Yeah, it is.
So the 2 big sports for Belgians, football or cycling?
For now, cycling because of Remco.
Oh, of course. Shellac versus Big Black?
Big Black. Because I got to know Big Black before Shellac, and Shellac is more, I don't know, like Dickeneck, I mean, more pretentious. Big Black is more indie, you know. I love it.
Yeah, Big Black is more straight in your face, right?
Yeah. Radical.
So as we were talking about stoner music, High on Fire versus Sleep.
Sleep.
You were talking about your love for Nirvana, and I'm not asking about your favorite song, but I'll give you Come As You Are or In Bloom.
In Bloom.
Good choice.
Yeah, In Bloom is such a better song. I mean, less of a single, but a better song, I think.
Yeah, but it was a single, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have like Come As You Are is this huge thing, you know. Come As You Are. Even your mom knows Come As You Are, you know.
Mine doesn't, but I know what you mean. I bet my left buttock that my mom, if I asked her, "Oh, Mom, do you like Come As You Are?" she would be like, "There." Okay. Touring versus writing. So touring with your band or writing and recording your stuff?
Touring. Like that's the best part of the job, meeting people, traveling. I mean, I love composing and recording because otherwise there wouldn't be a tour, but travel is one of the main reason I enjoy playing music and doing this job.
I won't make you choose between countries, but I'll give you two couples of cities. Let's start off with something not 100% Slavic, but Tallinn versus Helsinki.
If I had to choose to go there, because I've never been in neither of them, I would go Tallinn. Because
I've been in both, and yours is the better choice.
Okay, good.
And last one. So I know that you're from Belgium, and there is this Belgian festival called Dunk Festival, as I know. So Dunk Festival versus Roadburn.
Definitely Roadburn, because of its you know, of the whole thing around it. But that's unfair because I really do love Dunk Festival. Apparently they moved from
they moved to Ghent, yes.
Yeah, they moved to Ghent and in an inner venue, you know, inside.
They went indoors, yes.
And
yes.
I've heard that some people were like very disappointed with it. And yeah, I mean, we played Dunk twice, and it was still when it was in the woods, you know, in the countryside. And that's why my choice is clear for Roadburn here. But if Dunk would happen, this would still happen in the old place, I would maybe pick Dunk.
Then I can also tell you, you've heard negative reactions to the indoors, and I've heard positive reactions to the indoors. So it's always depending on who you ask. So Sébastien, thanks for all your time. First of all, that was one of the longest sessions I ever had. For everybody, listen to Wyatt E. Listen to their highly interesting music. And I won't try to pronounce the name of the last album. Sébastien is allowed to do that. So, Sébastien, thanks for being on the show.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Take care, my friend.